Hi, Cheryl Camarillo here. And how do you save a relationship when there's been intimacy betrayal, whether it's sex addiction, porn addiction, infidelity, maybe obsession with dating sites, going to various locations with adult entertainment? So, when you have those kinds of situations in a relationship, and you weren't aware that this was happening, there was kind of this level of deception going on. It breaks all trust. There's clearly no honesty, and there needs to be some efforts made in order to reestablish trust. Some people will say, well, once a liar, always a liar. I've heard that one before, and that's not necessarily true. You really actually have to work to see, like, why did someone decide that they needed to use that, tactic in order to continue some of this behavior that they are demonstrating. So, um, some things that you can do from the person who's committed the betrayal is to look at ways to help their partner feel safe again. So I always talk with people about the idea of transparency versus translucency. When we talk about transparency, that means that you go above and beyond to provide information to your partner so that they have a sense of safety, knowing that what you are offering up is more than they even considered asking. And it helps build some trust and some reliance that you understand that your partner needs that after a betrayal has happened. So some things that could happen, like in the area of translucency, if you that one means that the truth is there, but it's kind of cloudy, or things aren't being stated very clearly, so it's kind of just partial truths. You can have translucency when, maybe you say, I went to the store, but then you stopped at a friend's house and you went somewhere else, and so you're telling the truth because you did go to the store, but you didn't, share all these other details. And when your partner finds out that there's more information that was involved in this outing that you made, it just makes them start thinking all over again, what don't I know? Even if it's completely innocent. I had a person one time say all he was doing was going to hang with his friends, and they were supposed to meet in one place to go and have a beer. And when his partner was checking her Facebook later in the evening, she happened to see post of him in another location at a different restaurant, and she really felt like she needed that information, that he needed to be providing those kinds of things, because prior to the discovery day, he had been doing all kinds of things to make sure that he covered up the fact that he wasn't where he needed to be. So it's a long process, and it's very difficult for the people that are actually the betrayal people. They, it's just really hard to constantly have someone monitor what you're doing, and you start to get frustrated, and you build up your emotions, and sometimes you're pretty negative. But the other side of that is you're not looking from your partner's point of view. There was a complete lack of information. There was a power differential there. You had all the information, and your partner had no information. So you want to reestablish that key factor. So translucency, again, partial information, not all the information. So it's kind of like there's a sensation that maybe there's more to the story. Anytime you've been in a situation where it's like, is there more to the story? That is that gut instinct response that maybe your partner had prior to discovery and never followed up on, because um, he or she started thinking maybe it was just their imagination. So let's see, transparency. So transparency means fully visual, fully able to see what it is that you are doing as the person that has either cheated or has the problem behavior. And by that, it's kind of going above and beyond. So some some common ways that people have worked to do this is one of them is actually going and finding um, apps to put on phones to block out pornography. Um, Another one is to put things like um, location finders or Life 360, things like that. Um, so those are two things that can be put in place that help increase, opportunities for the person that's been betrayed to have more information and then be able to compare what are you saying versus what are they, what are they seeing in their um, in the tools that's being present. And it's been really, helpful for me, to hear some of the men that I work with say that it's actually really helpful for them to know that they have these kinds of mechanisms in place because when they start to feel their partner getting suspicious, feeling uncomfortable, maybe getting more irritated and, a little bit paranoid, all he has to do is pull up the information, be able to show her, be able to document. Another way that I see people, like, establish that, trust is that they actually will go out of their way to call throughout the day and just check in. It's that reaching out and that touch, you know, by text message or phone call or email, just being able to say, "Okay, he's thinking about me," is enough to kind of start building that sensation of maybe he's gonna be able to reestablish trust with me. Um, Let me think. There's just a variety of things that women find as being helpful. Another example of rebuilding trust is emotions. I have some women that will call and say, I don't understand what's happening. He's extremely angry. I asked a few questions and all of a sudden there's defensiveness back in the picture. And it's really important for you, if you are the person that is has created this issue, to be able to not respond in an emotional way when you're getting questioned, but to just look at it from the other side, look at it from a place of empathy, understanding, like trying to figure out like what is making her so uneasy and can I provide her with information to help her feel more relaxed and help her um, decrease the amount of stress that she's under. Because I'm going to tell you that, 1 month out, 2 months out, 6 months out, a year, 2 years, it doesn't take much to reignite that pathway that says, wait a second, is something bad about to happen? Because that is what happened when the discovery happened about infidelity or the different types of addictions. And so I just want you to kind of start thinking about like why are they reacting this way? Why are they responding? And it might not have anything to do with them wanting to bust you or wanting to, you know, catch you doing wrong things. It may come across like that, but if you look deeper inside, the issue has more um, to do with wanting to feel secure with you. And so offering as much information, giving as much, tools so that it'll help her the better. Um, you know, Further along in treatment, sometimes people will actually use lie detectors, polygraphs, and every therapist is different on how they decide they want to use that. So again, that's something for you when you're deciding to look for a counselor or somebody to help you with reestablishing this relationship. You might want to question that. There's excellent therapists out there with a lot of training that use this as a tool, and it's a large part of it has to do with helping the partner feel more confident about honesty factors. That would be another thing. So you have apps to check things. You have um, you know, polygraph testing. You have communication where you're being straightforward, providing above and beyond information. I'm going to do this, this, and this. Another way for establishing trust is at some point down the line when you are no longer experiencing this intense feeling of shame and guilt, you're going to be able to stop yourself from being reactive to what your partner is talking about, and you're going to be able to listen. And if you're able to listen without an emotional response, without a negative emotional response, you are going to build her ability to trust you with her emotions. So, um, I also want to talk a little bit more about financial clarity or financial transparency. If you've been using a lot of the money in your household to engage in other activities, that is another area where I've had some people say, I print out all of my credit card statements and make sure that those are available. I had one man say, I print it out every month. And she gets upset and says, I don't want it. But the thing is that the day he stops doing that, somewhere down the line, like I said, 2 weeks from now, 6 weeks from now, next year or 2 years, she's going to turn around and say, what happened there? And he'll be able to just say, here, I try to give all of this to you. I'm trying to be above board. So it was really, it's really nice to see how thorough and thoughtful some of the men are when they're trying to figure out what is going to provide a safety mechanism for their partner. So, those are just a few things that I've seen, that have been helpful for couples. And again, this establishing trust is going to be the beginning of establishing a lot of other things like empathy and safety and compassion and vulnerability and connection. And ultimately going back up to the ideal relationship that you were hoping to have with your partner, maybe one of true intimacy, emotionally, sexually, financially, spiritually, all of these different ways to have a connection with your partner and feel like not only do you feel better as a person, but your partner is feeling better. And you, as a partner, being able to say, okay, he gives me everything I need, and I feel like I can be a little bit more settled. And when you have that opportunity to feel more settled, the healing gets to start, and this sensation that the power is all in the betrayer's, you know, control, versus we're having open, honest conversations and people are being vulnerable. Those are the goals. So that's just a whole lot of information I just wanted to be able to provide. But if you are interested in attending some kind of Q&A sessions with me, I'm holding webinars on Sundays at 2 p.m. And so you can actually send me a contact from my website. It's CherylCamarillo.com. And it's listed somewhere here in my YouTube video down below. And the other thing is, I'm also on TikTok, so you can go to at Sharing with Cheryl and send me a message, and I will try to reach back out to you. Make sure that you provide your email and say that you're interested in attending the next Q&A. I know for this next week, I've planned to have a discussion about the partner's bill of rights, like what is reasonable for them to ask for during this time of recovery. There was a crisis period, there's a stabilization period, and then there's the um, reconnection, rebuilding stage of this whole process. And so, in the area of crisis, you are going to be trying to set, like, what are the rules, what are the boundaries, what are the expectations. And if you talk about those things up front, it's going to make it a lot easier for both of you to communicate. So anyway, I want to thank you for checking in with me. Please subscribe so I can get more people on board. And also, please send me your emails, and I can keep you engaged in whatever it is that I'm providing. My goal is not just to help partners, but I will also be helping the individuals that have the problematic sexual behavior. And then, ultimately, the goal is the reestablishing the relationship to a healthier level, because you've gone through a whole lot of pain and a whole lot of turmoil. And the goal is that if you want to stay in this relationship, that you get as much support as you need in that third section. And so my goal is to provide services and anything that I can think of that feeds you and helps you grow as a person and as part of a couple and then as a family. So, anyway, thank you for your time. Bye.